I feel like this is the trickiest year, and we are getting a lot of queries from fall 2026 applicants because हर country से कोई ना कोई negative news आ रही है. Some countries are delaying the visa processing so much. Some are hiking up the student visa fee. Some are slashing down the study work permit duration. All this is, of course, negatively impacting the international students, and this is happening in every country, I would say. So what I want to do this in this video is to compare very objectively US, Europe, Australia, and Canada, because I think those four geographies cover all the popular destination that Indians look at. I'm going to share some important numbers, the bigger news, what is the biggest problem happening in these countries, so that you can make a more well-informed decision. And I'm also going to share my opinion on what I think about each of these locations. All this on the other side of the intro. Keep watching. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Very important video today because we are discussing which is the best study abroad destination for fall 2026. Now, if you're finding the study abroad content on this channel useful, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I don't like doing the FOMO videos or controversial videos just for the sake of it. So I want to create genuine, valuable content for you guys. And if you want to support that, then just show us by hitting the subscribe and like buttons, because that really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so coming back to today's video, I know that India has been becoming more of an economic superpower. People are talking about how important India is becoming. But the fact is that Indians will continue to emigrate, and study abroad numbers have been always increasing, and I see them increasing going forward as well. And the simple reason for that is it's not really about how good India is becoming or how problematic other countries are becoming. The fact is, India just does not have the infrastructure to support its 1 billion plus population, and we are talented folks, we are ambitious folks. So we will always keep finding opportunities abroad. Now, I was looking at some of the data by Ministry of External Affairs, and they pointed out that 35 million Indians are living abroad, out of which 15 million are NRIs and 20 million are PIOs or persons of Indian origin. And if we look at globally where these Indians are actually going to, then first is of course US. 5.4 million Indians live there. Then it's all Middle East. We have UAE with 3.5 million and Saudi Arabia with 2.5 million. Now, Middle East is known more for attracting the semi-skilled workers. But if you look at the highly skilled workers or the audience of this channel, doctors, engineers, lawyers, accountants, etc., they are flocking to North America, Europe, Australia kind of places. Now, the thing is, situation has changed a lot in last 2 years, right? Not just US, but in Europe, overall war situation. World is in a different mindset, and also it's not very immigration friendly everywhere. I mean, there are far right political parties are winning, and they are creating more of this anti-immigration sentiment. And I think this will keep playing for at least next 4 or 5 years. So we need a fresh evaluation of what makes sense for us to study abroad in 2026. So आज I'm going to do a good punchy pros and cons list for these four major destination, and then of course my takeaways in the end. For now, let's get started with our first destination, USA. So let's start with United States of America or the US, and I'm going to first talk about the salaries, which is their major plus point. So as you can see on the screen, average salaries after masters is around $100,000 or 85 lakh rupee, and these are pretty good across different domains. For example, even MIS, finance, stats have salaries around $80,000 to $90,000. Whereas if you go for something like DSAI or ML, you can easily earn more than $120,000, which is almost 1 CR of package. Among my clients, I've heard of a range of $150,000 to $350,000 with people who have 2 to 4 years of work experience. Now, $350,000 is 3 crore rupee. I can confidently say that you cannot earn that kind of salary anywhere else in the world, period. Also, if you look at these numbers, you can see that US really values the master's, MBA or PhD degrees, and there is significant appreciation in your salaries if you go for graduate school. So if you're looking for master's destination, US can give you one of the best premium on your master's degree. Now let's talk about number of jobs, which is also a big plus point for US. Although I understand that STEM job market is tough right now. There are layoffs, it's really hard to find a job, etc. But the number of opportunities are still bigger than any other country on this planet. It is not just bigger, it is exceptionally bigger. San Francisco or New York City alone have more tech jobs than whole of Canada combined or half of the Europe combined. This is the scale we are talking about. If I compare the US versus UK STEM job market, you can see US has total workforce of 167 million STEM workers. For UK, that is only 33 million, and US has total STEM jobs around 17.3 million versus only 9 million for UK. So you can see that difference, and this of course happens because most of the global tech giants are headquartered in US. Example, if we just take about Apple's case, they employ more than 164,000 workers in the US, but in UK they hire only around 8,000 people. And if I compare the average software engineering salaries at Apple, they are paying around $180,000 to US workforce, but in UK they are paying only average salary of around 75,000 pounds, which translates to around $80,000. So this is the distinction. You can see US job market is tremendously bigger than anywhere else. Now let's talk about some of the negative points, and one of the bigger ones is of course the tuition fee, which will be expensive if you study in US. It's around $40,000 to $80,000, that is around 35 to 65 lakh rupees, and of course Ivy Leagues are much more expensive. If I talk about work permits, US allows 3 years of study work permit known as OPT. This includes the STEM extension. If you're going for a non-STEM course, you have only 1 year of OPT. This, I would say, has been comparable with rest of the world, but of course what Trump is doing is causing anxiety because they are talking about reducing OPT and other stuff like that. Talking of Trump, that is actually the biggest negative factor today because of his direct attack on some of the immigration policies which have been much friendlier for Indians previously. He is attacking those. Specifically, if I talk about, we have seen that he has frozen the funding from some of the several federal grants and programs that facilitate international scholarships and student exchanges. He is talking about restrictions on OPT, and we have seen a direct attack on student visas. We are seeing many more student visa rejections these days. People are not finding slots for the F1 visa interview, and Trump administration deported more than 300 students and also 5,000 students for minor infractions including underage drinking and things like that. So that is really causing a lot of anxiety among students who are not really illegal immigrants, so there should not be an attack on them, but that is what Trump administration is doing right now. So what's my take about US? I say that studying in US and building that kind of like early wealth gave me a lot of freedom to experiment later in life. So I went from like 3 lakh per annum salary in India to around $100,000 within 2 years of going to US, and I would not change that for anything. I think studying in US, working there for some time and coming back to India is what I would do if I were graduating today. अब हम बात करते हैं next popular destination, which is the Europe, right? Now, Europe is really attractive in terms of distance. It's closer to India. Many families want that. And of course, it's a great place if you just want to travel the world, because like if you're just a student there, you can travel throughout Europe very cheaply and see all these beautiful places. That is such a big plus. Plus, it houses great old educational institutes like UK, Germany, France, Italy have so many historical universities, and they're also good, like they rank in top 100 in QS World Rankings. It's awesome for research and infrastructure, and I would talk separately about UK and Germany, which are more known for, let's say, STEM programs. But if you're looking at business, humanities kind of courses, then France or Italy are also, they have some great options there. Overall, I would highly recommend Europe for people who are really laid back and they want kind of that slow life. Now let's talk specifically about the salaries. As you can see on screen, after master's salary in UK is around 58 lakh rupee, in Germany is around 67 lakh rupee, and after bachelor's they are 44 lakh in UK and 52 lakh Indian rupee in Germany. If you notice this carefully, the difference is not as significant. And this is why I say that I really prefer Europe for bachelor's program, because even doing a bachelor's there is like kind of good enough. Actually, very few Europeans go for master's courses, and even in corporates and offices, you will see that most people are promoted not because of degrees but based on their experience. So if you're a like family looking for bachelor's destination for your kids, I think Europe is a good option, and I would look at US more for terminal master's degree and getting very high paying jobs. Now let's look at Germany specifically, and here if I look at like the numbers, around 50,000 Indian students are studying there. The number is only expected to go up. As I met with German ambassador recently and we did a video around that, Germany is looking to attract a lot more quality students from India. So all those people who are not able to find a place in US now, I think Germany is a very, very attractive option, especially because they have almost like zero tuition fee. You only have to pay living cost, and while living cost is slightly expensive in cities like Munich, you can work on your student visa. You can work actually up to 140 full days or 280 half days per year, and you can earn enough to fully cover your living costs. So technically you are studying for free in Germany. And of course it's the birthplace of engineering precision, right? So BMW, Bosch, Siemens, these kind of places are there. So if you're looking for STEM courses in engineering, automotive, robotics, data science, etc., Germany has great universities, great programs. In fact, I've heard that their programs are even more rigorous than programs in the US. So great place for renewable energy, sustainability, environmental engineering, major work happening there in green tech, for example. It's not bad for management courses like business analytics, finance, etc. too, especially in Frankfurt, which is the financial capital. It's also decent for public policies and international relations, especially if you're applying to programs funded by DAD or through the Erasmus track. But I would avoid pure humanities, media or fashion kind of courses there. Now the biggest problems I see in Germany is their APS system causes some confusion, and you have to pay around $18,000 just to get the APS evaluation, and that is compulsory. You cannot get your student visa without that. There have been some delays in student visas, and you could actually appeal against those rejections until now. But from July 1st, Germany has ended this free appeal system. So overall, it seems like it will be slightly harder and more expensive to get the German student visa. Also, starting from September 2024, Germany has increased the amount that you needed to show as proof of income from 930 euros per month to 990 euros per month. You need to show more funds now. And secondly, we are hearing some news that the DAD, or which is the German Academic Exchange Service, might be cutting on some scholarships and university internationalization programs because they are just feeling that high cost pressure in Germany. So I think Germany has some very, very attractive things for Indian students right now, and some of them may be taken away in next few years. So I would say it's a very, very good time to consider Germany if you are not already doing that. So my take is, if I am cost sensitive, or if I am okay with slightly lower salaries, but I prefer like high quality of living, slow life and work-life balance, then Germany, and if I'm interested in tech kind of fields, Germany is a phenomenal place to be. Let's talk about United Kingdom or UK now, and the biggest positive for me is I think their phenomenal scholarship programs for their master's education. I mean, British Council has such great scholarships. Some of my clients have gone and studied in UK absolutely for free. So that is, I think, the biggest plus point. You can technically spend 1 year there and just like complete a full master's degree absolutely for free. It's more of an adventure than education, I would say. But if for some reason you don't get those scholarships, then UK is not very cheap. The average annual tuition fee ranges from 10 to 38,000 pounds, which is 12 to 45 lakh just for 1 year of masters. So not cheap, obviously. And if you're living closer to London, then it is high inflation, high living costs, of course. Now let's talk about the negative points, and there are many. I would say job market is extremely fragmented. There is lack of jobs for international overall, much lesser salaries than we see in US, of course. Job market is still fine for, I would say, sustainability, design, UI, UX, cybersecurity, tech programs like data science, blockchain, etc. are fine. But I would avoid random courses like international business, MIM, definitely not, or marketing kind of courses. I don't think they are worth it. Now, you would always hear that Canada and UK are top two destinations for Indian students, but I feel that people who are going to study in UK are often business families, rich kids who want to just get a degree and are okay to come back, right? Or they are people who are going on full scholarship where they will have to come back to India anyway. For example, Women in STEM scholarship, it mandates that you return to India once you finish your master's degree. So I don't see many students going to UK and actually working there, right? So that's my biggest problem. Other negative news is that they recently released a white paper called Restoring Control Over the Immigration System, which systematically outlines some measures to make immigration more tougher. And this is not a good news for Indian students. Specifically, they are trying to make the student visa requirements much more stringent, so only a fewer people will get student visas. Secondly, they are changing the study work visa duration from 2 years to 18 months. This is big. So graduate route, which became like a big news, that there is 2 year of a study work permit in UK, that is getting reduced now. And lastly, they are making it harder for international students to bring dependents with them to the UK. They are making it really hard for these dependent to get any sort of visas and of course ability to work, etc. So that will put a lot of restrictions on what Indian students can or cannot do in the UK. So overall, Europe, I think, cost friendly, but job market is significantly lower, salaries are significantly lower, still good for bachelors, but masters, I would say, only if you are really cost constrained. Now let's talk about the third destination, which is Australia. If I talk about the average salaries, after masters you can get paid around 50 lakh Indian rupee, and after bachelors you can get paid around 36 lakh Indian rupee. Not bad, I would say. Overall, it's a good growing economy, good quality of living, very good work life balance, very beautiful natural scenery is just obviously breathtaking, and it's an English speaking country. So there are some big positives, I would say. And also, if you look at the 2025 QS World University rankings, 9 Australian universities have made it to the top 100 and 6 are featuring in top 50. Now, for some reason, I still don't find them comparable to US and European institutes, but they are pretty good. You can't deny that anymore. Also, Australia is one of the most generous countries when it comes to giving the post-study work visa permits to international students. Bachelors can get a 2 plus there is a 2 years of extension, so total 4 years of post-study work rights. Master students can get 3 plus 2, 5 years, and PhDs can get up to 6 years of work permit after graduating. This is extremely generous, right? And you can work almost full time even as a student. So those are big positives. But let us look at the negative news and some of the biggest problems today. Well, firstly, I mean, tuition is not at all cheap. The tuition, I would say, is around 70% of the US. So average tuition fee is still around 44 lakh Indian rupee, which is not cheap by any means. Secondly, the problem with Australia is that regional areas matter a lot and demand varies a lot from between, let's say, Perth to Adelaide. So you have to understand their skilled occupation list system and target the right states and cities to actually get all these benefits. Like if you want that handsome study work permit, if you want a quicker PR or something, you have to pick the right occupation in the right state. For example, in some states, if you are doing a nursing course, you can get PR almost very quickly. So you have to understand that system. It's slightly different from other countries. In other negative news, in around end of 2024, Australia has increased its student visa fee from 710 Australian dollar to 1600 Australian dollar, which is almost like earlier it was 40,000 rupee. It is almost 90,000 Indian rupee now. It's very expensive. So student visa issues, yes, we keep hearing from Australia. There are certain caps also on some visas there. Other than that, like, I see heavy Chinese population in Australia, and I do sense some sort of racism there as well. I think it's decreasing because more and more Indians are going there. Overall, I'm bullish on Australia. I think it's on early days of, like, the excitement that got built around Canada. I see Australia in the similar zone now. So Indians who are fed up of all these immigration policies elsewhere, they want a good, decent quality of living and are not too salary oriented, I think they are happy with Australia. So a lot of people are actually preferring Australia for education these days. I have of course done a full detailed video about the pros and cons, which you can check out. I'll leave the link in the description box below. And now let's move to the final destination for this video, which is Canada. And well, 2.8 million Indians are living in Canada. That's huge, right? And it has happened because they had very friendly PR policies, attractive work-life balance. It's been a peaceful country previously. So all that led to a lot of Indians emigrating to Canada. Overall, tuition fee is okayish. I mean, not very cheap, but it's not expensive either. And also you can get, like, some scholarships and grants are available for international students. So average tuition fee we see is around 30 lakh Indian rupee, which is roughly half of what you have to spend in the US. If I talk about the average salaries after masters is around 55 lakh rupee and after bachelor's is around 39 lakh rupee, so pretty decent. However, last 2 years have been a political nightmare between India and Canada, and that is what I want to talk about today. The first problem happened in January of 2024 when Canada asked international students to show a proof of 20,000 Canadian dollars in available funds, and this was drastically like double of the earlier benchmark. 10,000 Canadian dollars show karne padte the, then it went up to 20,000 Canadian dollar. So this itself impacted a lot of students. Then in 2025, the data shows that in first quarter of 2025, Canada issued only 30,000 study permits for Indian students, and this is 31% lower from the same period in 2024. So yes, we are seeing that fewer Indians are now getting study permits to actually study in the Canada. So overall, this decline in Indian study permits, rising cost and mounting uncertainty is all making it very, very difficult for Indian students to choose Canada as an overseas education destination. But here's my take, like, do you know why all this is happening? It's because Canada became too PR friendly to begin with, and they imported so many humans than it had opportunities for. They don't have enough white collar jobs to support these young students and professionals, and so unemployment has been on a surge. I have heard people are becoming truck drivers or taking up blue collar jobs just to sustain there. So nothing against these jobs, but it does impact your career growth. This also caused huge rent surge, and like Toronto has become extremely expensive. There is a real estate inflation because the fact is, in Canada, there is only very tiny amount of land which is actually livable. Most of it is very cold and sparsely populated. So that's the harsh reality of Canada in 2024. And of course, after that whole Trudeau policy and anti-India rant kind of has strained the relationships between India and Canada to the extent that there is a lot of uncertainty. You don't know कि आपको visa मिलेगा भी कि नहीं मिलेगा. So I am not advising any of our clients to go there, and if somebody wants to go purely for PR, you can consider it, but it's not an education destination for me anymore in 2025. So those were my in-depth analysis of some of these geographies. Now let's do a final wrap up and conclusion. I would say for people who have some sort of financial cushion, who are ambitious, who want to build high growth and paid careers in tech and finance, I think US is still the place to be. And try those things out. I mean, I don't want to have a regret later on in my life that I didn't give it a shot. For bachelor's, I'm leaning more towards Europe because it's less volatile, it has good proximity to India, it has great research infrastructure. In fact, if you're somebody interested in bio, healthcare or those kind of programs, I think Europe is a phenomenal place to be. For cost-conscious people, again, I think Europe has more options. Clearly, Germany is there, even Nordic countries, Italy, France, they can be pretty light on your wallet, I would say. For anybody looking for PR, I would say give a preference to Australia. So this was my take. It can be controversial. You can, of course, agree, disagree with some of these points, but I would love to know what you are thinking, how you're going about this, what country are you choosing. So please do let me know that in the comments. And I will see you guys next week with a fresh new video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.